Touchdown, Illinois. Caught by Davis in the end zone. Touchdown, Illinois. Chase, and down he goes. Got a man open if he can get him. And he does. It's caught. Diving for the end zone. Touchdown, Illinois. Josh Ferguson.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Fighting Illini Insider from Champaign. I'm your host, Brian Barnhart. We'll be joined by Illini head football coach Tim Beckman coming up in just a few minutes. Also later in the show, a look ahead to the Illini game against Purdue. We're going to start with a look back at the Illini game in Lincoln, Nebraska this last Saturday night. And also during the course of the show, we'll hear from the Illini's nutritionist, Chelsea Burkhardt, as we'll talk about fueling for the Illini as far as their energy and food and all of that. All that is straight ahead, as well as a look ahead at all the other sports going on at the University of Illinois, including soccer, volleyball, and cross country. All that straight ahead, but first a look back at the Illini at Nebraska this past Saturday night.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Big Ten Conference football. Nighttime under the lights here in Lincoln, Nebraska, one of the great settings for college football. 91,000 going to be shoehorned in here tonight, most all of them wearing red. We're just about set for kickoff on a gorgeous night for football. 74 degrees here in Lincoln, Nebraska as we get the Big Ten Conference season underway. It looks like as we started, Illinois 2nd and 17 from the 23. O'Toole lets it fly, left sideline, nice pass, nice catch, down to the 40-yard line. And it looks like Geronimo Allison. 1st and 10, Illinois at the 41 of Nebraska, trailing 7-0. Big pass play to Allison. Here's Ferguson. Big hole up the middle. 40, 30, sprint to the end zone. He's gone. Touchdown, Illinois. 41 yards on the gallop up the middle by Josh Ferguson. In the pistol look, Armstrong, who started last year against Illinois, takes the snap, hands it to the right, cross, and the Illini knock him off his feet. Maybe for a loss of a couple. 3rd and 20 Huskers from the Illinois 47 in a 7-7 tie early. Plenty of time for Armstrong as he rolls right. Looks downfield, unloads it, it's picked off at the 35 of Illinois. The Illini have the pick and they return it to midfield. Looks like T.J. Neal, 52, the man who's there to pick off the pass from near midfield after the pick by T.J. Neal. Dudek in motion. They will hand it to him. He's running right, 45-40, turns the corner at the 30, and they pump him out of bounds. Ferguson in the backfield next to Riley O'Toole out of the gun. 3 receivers right, 3rd and long, rush on, screen pass left, caught. It is caught. Ferguson, 20, 10, 5, cuts back, and he's upended inside the 5-yard line. 3 receivers to the right for Nebraska. Snap back Armstrong, big hole up the middle, cross. Inside the 25, a fumble. It's loose at the Illinois 22, and the Illini have it. I think Eaton Spence has come out of there with it. He lines up to the right of the quarterback, Armstrong, who fakes it to a receiver, keeps it himself, eludes a sack, runs it left, and the Illini run him down back at the 30-yard line. Of course, he didn't play last week, has 300 yards receiving for the year. Play action, O'Toole on 1st down, throwing deep right, looking for Allison again, comes back for the ball, he's got it. 25 of Nebraska, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Illinois. Allison with a tremendous catch down the right sideline for 58 yards, and the Illini answer with a touchdown. 31-14 Huskers, 2nd and 7 Illinois. Here's the give to Ferguson, spinning his way along 35-40, and he's upended, but not before he's got a 1st down. And looks like Cross is in this time, and they hand it to him, and he's dropped. Nebraska's offense very, very good. Here's a fake handoff now, in trouble, and sacked. Ken Nelson, 2nd and 5 at their own 42. Snap back Armstrong. And here's a great tackle in the backfield as they hand it to the tailback. They're all pretty tight. Snap back to him. Pump fake. Throws it right. Got a man over the middle. Caught at the 30. I think that's Dudek.
Yeah, it's Dudek.
With a catch and a 1st down at the 31. 1st and 15 from their own 47 for Illinois. And here's a lob to the left, and Dudek's wide open. 45-40, cuts back at the 35, down to the 30 of Nebraska before they get him. Turnovers hurt there at that point. Snap back, and Fife is in trouble, and he's going to be sacked. Back at the 30-yard line. Good pursuit down there by the Illini. 26 seconds left. Riley O'Toole tonight, 16 out of 37 for 233. Plenty of time to throw. Throws over the middle, looking for Dudek again. He's got it. 45-40, and he would have scored had he not been tripped up. And the Huskers in front of 91,000 win it here tonight, 45-14, with a big ground game from the Huskers as the fireworks go off here in Lincoln.
Welcome back. Fighting Illini Insider continues here from Champaign. We're joined by Illini head football coach Tim Beckman on our set. And Coach, the Nebraska game, you went out there. It was a 7-7 game after one quarter. Had a chance to take the lead at one point, had a turnover at that point, and then Nebraska kind of got the running game going and kind of took over from there.
Well, you know, you give up 28 points in that second quarter, and that was really, as I've been talking about, the problem. We've got to make sure that we're playing, especially when you're playing, in my opinion, a top 10 football team in the country. You've got to be clicking on all cylinders, and we need to stop the run. There's no question about that. Did not get that done. And then offensively, take advantage of being able to score points when you can.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nebraska scored first in the ball game as we start to take a look at some of the highlights here, but Josh Ferguson got you on the board quickly right after that with a nice scamper to the end zone.
Yeah, I thought our offensive line, you know, we really started that first series out pretty well, and Coach Kubik called some great plays to get guys open, and we made some big plays, and then Josh, of course, made that little tweak, and then he was gone. And, you know, that's one of the things that Josh can do. We can definitely utilize him more out in space, and that's what we're going to have to do for us to capitalize on our offense, especially with running the football.
Yep, did a lot of spinning and juking here, which is, as you say, what he does, I think, best in the open field.
No question. He's quick. He can read defenders downfield better, and he's, you know, when you get him in space, he can make a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm. Well, a late scratch from the ball game was Wes Lunt. Riley O'Toole, who's been your backup, won that backup job, able to step in and made the start. And let's talk about his night a little bit, catch some of his highlights along the way. 17 of 38, 261 with a touchdown along the way for number 4.
Well, you know, first start in Coach Kubik's era with this offense, and you know, I think Riley really played especially early, really well. And then you know, they got kind of honed in on a couple things that we were doing, especially in pass protection, and you know, got after him a little bit. But G-Mo right there, you can see he made an outstanding catch. We saw that up in the press box, made the adjustment, and we struck gold right there.
You've talked a lot about Riley and the fact that he's a team leader. His teammates like to play with him.
Oh, no question. Yeah. I mean, Riley's been an important part of this program since I've been here. He understands how to be a teammate and how to be a leader. Our players voted him as one of our team captains this past summer, so he is definitely one of those leaders.
All right, let's talk some more about the offense now. And Geronimo Allison, you saw him make a catch there. He comes back to the ball extremely well. We're going to see that a couple times.
Brian, we've got to get him the ball. I mean, he is by far the guy that's making plays for us. I think he and Dudek, if you talk about you know, our guys that are making key plays for us. But when G-Mo's healthy, you know, I think he's as good as there is in the Big Ten, and he'll continue to get better. We got to remember that this was only his 4th game that he played in as a college football player.
Saw that touchdown there. There was a Illini who played in the NFL, still is at the end of his career. Brandon Lloyd is someone that I know our radio broadcast partner talked about. He was about as good as anybody going up and getting a ball, and we've seen that with Geronimo there as well. So
sure.
Great catches by G-Mo.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the punting game a little bit. Justin Duvernois with a career-long 74 yards in that ball game.
Well, again, we've really tried to utilize Justin on the way that he's punting extremely well, and that is with what we call our Rocky punt. He's working better to his right, and boy, that first one, we couldn't go catch it. That's what we were trying to get it out of that end zone. Took a couple bad bounces for us, but the only thing that we asked Justin to do a little bit better was to make sure that we're punting that ball in the area that we need to punt it in.
All right, let's talk about the defense a little bit now from Saturday night. Certainly the running game for Nebraska got going, but we continue to get a lot of tackles for loss, which says something, I think, about getting some pressure, maybe just not quite enough yet.
Well, again, I think there's a couple comments that were made on how you stop the run, and that enables you to have more tackles for losses and sacks. I do think we're doing a good job of penetrating. We just got reached on a couple of things against Nebraska in the run game. But when it comes past time, our guys are sticking their ears back and coming, and I think Coach Banks has called some great blitz opportunities for those kids.
Well, you've continued to get some guys that have contributed. Jihad Ward continues to do that. Austin Teitzma battles in there as your team leader in tackles for loss. some individual efforts that are starting to show up in some numbers that way.
No question. Again, Jihad is a guy that can create pressure on the edge. I think DJ Smoot is another name that has to be mentioned. We're trying to utilize Carroll Phillips with some of the things that he does well, him being a first-year guy. But again, you're talking about Jihad Ward and Carroll Phillips, two guys that were in their 5th game of the year. They continually get better each and every week.
Taylor Barton leading the team in tackles, another big night for him. And Zane Petty led the team overall with 15 tackles in that ball game on Saturday. Has also forced 2 turnovers here. TJ Neal with a pick.
Well, and it was early, and we've got to capitalize on those things. People have been capitalizing on our turnovers, there's no question. So when we have that opportunity and we get that football back for our offense, we've got to score, and then of course defense, we've got to keep them out of the end zone when the turnover occurs.
You saw Eaton Spence come out of there with the fumble, one of the turnovers that Illinois was able to get on defense against Nebraska. We'll take a look about the meal plan for the Illini and their nutritionists. All that is straight ahead. And later in the show, a look ahead to Purdue. That's next on Fighting Illini Insider. Welcome back. Fighting Illini Insider continues here from Champaign. And Coach, we know that eating right is such a big part of what goes on in intercollegiate athletics. And you've got a great nutritionist on your staff in Chelsea Burkhart. In my opinion, the best. That's very, very important for student athletes today is nutrition, getting the proper amount of calories. The body is stressed in everything that they do, from football to any sport that you play. So Chelsea does a great job. She formulates a plan for our football players for pregame, for 2 nights before, for 3 nights before, so that when our players step on that football field, they're ready and prepared, at least nutritionally wise. And the student athletes now eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, all at the university. So certainly that's been kind of a new addition, right? Again, I talk about this a lot. Mike Thomas has come out and done things that are really above what a lot of the Big Ten's doing. And that speaks very highly for what this program feels about its student athletes. And so our players have the opportunity to have 3 very, very good meals. That's not happening everywhere. So that is something special that we have here. All right, let's hear from Chelsea Burkhart.
The Illini Fuel program is what we started as basically an answer to how we wanted to handle the new NCAA legislation. The whole point is the difference between the old legislation and the new legislation actually allows us to help athletes meet their needs. These athletes, they're student athletes, and that's really what ends up being the biggest issue, is that they have an unbelievable number of responsibilities on top of their role of just being a student.
It's really beneficial, especially after practice when we've had a hard day and we need to get in some food right away. We have a place to go right afterwards that has like a lot of protein, carbs and stuff like that help us refuel.
Usually right after practice you go home, takes about a half an hour to prepare a meal, and by that time you've lost that window of opportunity to correctly refuel your body.
We have to-go containers for anything they could want. So, we've got foil papers they can wrap a breakfast sandwich in, and a clear cup that they can build their yogurt parfait into, because we know they're busy. So take it with you. Come, grab something, go ahead and eat on the road, so they don't need to feel as though they have to have 30 minutes carved out to sit and eat.
When we go eat and stuff, having someone really easy just there so you can ask any question to has helped a lot, and definitely helped us learn and just help us even figure out our own bodies.
As a sports dietitian, our job is to be an educator first and foremost. So to help these athletes understand what is happening in their bodies and what are they asking for from their body. We're almost like an assistant coach on their team, and the thing that we coach is their plate. And when we're around often enough so that they know how much we care about them, it takes us out of the role of being the food police. And they understand that what we're teaching them is how to make sure their body feels the best for every performance that they may have.
Regardless of playing time, scholarship, everyone gets this opportunity to have these meals prepared, so you get to socialize with every athlete on every sport.
By us taking some of that responsibility on, Athletes tell me every day that it's so much easier for them to make good choices when they're not having to spend the time or the money on making sure that they prepared the right thing.
I've been saving a lot of money at the grocery store. I don't have to buy, really expensive meat and dairy products and all that.
This initiative has allowed them to have access to those foods without so much effort, be it financially or time.
Barnhart back in Champaign on Fighting Illini Insider. Great to have you with us again. Well, football not the only sport involved over this past weekend. The Illini volleyball team and soccer and cross country also busy. Let's start off with volleyball. Number 16 ranked Illinois started out their conference schedule with a pair of sweeps at home. They cruised to a 3-0 victory against Maryland on Friday, followed by a win against the other newest member of the Big Ten, Rutgers, on Saturday. The Illini will try to continue their home court advantage this week with a pair of matches against nationally ranked Minnesota and then Wisconsin. The 19th ranked women's soccer team split matches on the road this weekend. After grabbing a 4-1 victory at Ohio State, the Orange and Blue saw their 4-game winning streak come to an end at number 8 Penn State, falling 2-1. The Illini will continue their road slate when they travel up to Northwestern on Sunday. The Fighting Illini cross-country teams return to action Saturday up at the Roy Gryak Invite in Minneapolis. The men finishing their day finding themselves in 7th place. Giannis Topher led the way for the Illini, crossing the line 6th. Illinois now travels to Kentucky for the Greater Louisville Classic. Meanwhile, the women finished 18th out of 35 schools in the field. For the 3rd straight meet, Alyssa Schneider set the pace for Illinois, finishing in 58th place. The Orange and Blue have a few weeks off before traveling to Peoria for the Bradley Invite. And that'll do it for this week's Fighting Illini Update. I'm Brian Barnhart. When we come back on Fighting Illini Insider, we'll talk about Purdue with Illini head football coach Tim Beckman. That's next on Fighting Illini Insider. Welcome back. Fighting Illini Insider continues here from Champaign. It's the Illini and the Purdue Boilermakers Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. And the two teams, the Illini and the Boilermakers, playing for the Cannon.
Well, we've had that cannon in our locker room for the last year, and our players have looked at it each and every day, and we can be the team since 2002 to keep it for back-to-back years. So it's very, very important to our seniors about leaving a legacy.
Yep, the Illini defeated Purdue last year in West Lafayette, 20-16. It was very cold that day, I remember, and hopefully be a lot warmer coming up on Saturday. Well, let's talk about the Boilermakers, and they have a team that battled Iowa in a close game for a while there in the first half, especially in West Lafayette.
Well, they started out the game extremely high. I mean, it's homecoming for them, so they were playing with great intensity. They made a big pick. They had a couple great runs, but then Iowa just lasted longer.
Akeem Hunt, you saw him running there. He's a guy that we'll have to keep an eye on this Saturday. And the Purdue defense early on kept Iowa from getting many first downs in that first game.
A lot of penetration that you see from that front four. They've got two defensive ends, in my opinion, that are very, very good football players. They can create problems, as you can see. They had this pick for 6. Which gave them their first touchdown at the very beginning of the game. So that was the first way that they scored. Their defense was able to make a big play and put points on the board.
All right, and the Boilermakers, of course, coached by Daryl Hazel. He's a guy that you know pretty well.
Well, Daryl's been a close friend of mine. I've known Daryl. We coached against one another in saying that he coached the wide receivers and I coached the defensive backs. So we played against each other a lot, and I have the utmost respect for Daryl. He's done a great job at places that he's been at as a head coach and as an assistant.
Yep, trying to put things in motion over there. And the Boilermakers have kind of improved in several categories along the way on offense, and it should be a good game, I would think, Saturday.
No question. I mean, this is going to be one very, very important that we start early, start out fast, continue to play consistently throughout the game.
All right. Hey, Coach, we're looking forward to it. 11 o'clock kick, playing for the Cannon. Illinois and Purdue at Memorial Stadium. Coach, good luck.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, that's head coach Tim Beckman. That's our show for this week. Thanks for being with us. I'm Brian Barnhart. We'll talk to you next time on the Fighting Illini Insider.